Hello everyone, welcome to my class, Math Lesson with Miss Kenny. Today we are going to learn about how to solve quadratic equations using quadratic formula. Previously you have learned about how to solve quadratic equations using factorization and completing the square. Today we are going to learn about how to solve quadratic equations using quadratic formula. Where is this quadratic formula coming from? This quadratic formula is coming from the process of completing the square. Later, we are going to learn how to derive the quadratic formula from the process of completing the square. The quadratic formula is x1, 2. 1, 2 are put slightly below the line. It means there are two possible solutions for the quadratic equation. So x1, 2 equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. We can separate the possible solutions into first x equals minus b plus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a, or the second x equals negative b minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. To use the quadratic formula, we need the standard form of quadratic equations, because the value of a is the coefficient of x squared, the value of b is the coefficient of x, and the value of c is the constant term. So, to use the quadratic formula in non-standard form, quadratic equation, we need to change this quadratic equation. For example, this one, x squared minus 4, we need to change the x squared minus 4 into standard form. So we need to use the coefficient of x equals 0. So we have x squared plus 0x minus 4 equals 0. So the value of b equals 0. The same, for example, x squared plus 3x equals 0. To use the quadratic formula, we need to change this quadratic equation into standard form. So we need to use the value of 0 to represent the constant term. So x squared plus 3x plus 0 equals 0. So the value of c is equal to 0. Now we can use the quadratic formula after we change the quadratic equations into standard form. How to derive the quadratic formula from the process of completing the square? Let's take a look at this example. I'm using the a, b, and c variables. And then I'm going to factor out the a because I need to use the coefficient of x squared equals 1. So I need to divide each term by a. Ax squared divided by a is x squared. Bx divided by a equals b over ax, and c divided by a equals c over a. And then I'm going to use the perfect square, the expansion of perfect square, like this. I'm going to match the quadratic equations and the perfect squares. Okay, let's match. So I need to divide the coefficient of the linear term b over a by 2. So I can get x squared plus 2 times b over 2ax. Okay, I'm using balance method. Don't be confused with the a variable here, the letter a here, and the letter a here. Here, the letter a is the coefficient of x squared. Here, the letter a here, a variable, is the constant term inside the brackets. I'm using balance method here. And then I replace this shaded part here, this, with the perfect square. x plus b over 2a squared plus c over a equals b squared over 2a squared. I can separate the square of the numerator and the square of the denominator like this. And then I change into b squared over 4a squared. 4a squared is from 2a times 2a. And then using the balance method, I want to isolate the perfect square. I remove the c over a. So there are two fractions on the right side of the equal sign. I want to make it single fraction, so I need to combine the numerator. To combine the numerator, I need to make the denominator the same. So I change c over a into 4ac over 4a squared. Then I can combine the numerator into b squared minus 4ac all divided by 4a squared. And then I'm going to remove the square on the left side. So I put square root on both sides here and put the plus minus sign on the right side. I also can separate the square root of the numerator and the square root of the denominator like this. And not only that, I can move the plus or minus sign in front of the numerator, and I can separate the square root of 4 and the square root of a squared like this, and then simplify into 2a. And then I'm going to isolate the x by removing the b over 2a. Using balance method, to remove b over 2a, I put negative b over 2a on the left side of the equal sign. If I put negative b over 2a on the left side of the equal sign, I need to put negative b over 2a on the right side of the equal sign. And then I simplify into x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. This is how we derive the quadratic formula from the process of completing the square. Now we are going to use the quadratic formula in solving the quadratic equation. For example, x squared plus 7x plus 9 equals 0. See, 1, the coefficient of x squared is 1, and 1 is not written here. So the a is 1, 7, the b is 7, the c is 9. Now I have the value of a, b, c. Is now to put the value into the quadratic formula. So minus b, it means minus 7, b squared means 7 squared, minus 4 times a is 1, times z, times the c is 9. And then I'm simplify the equation into this one, the last one. I separate the possible solution into x is equal to minus 1.070 or x is equal to minus 5.30. You can use calculator to calculate this. And don't forget to underline your final answers twice. Next example. Okay, in the next example, not all values are positive. So, for example, a is 2, b is negative 3, c is negative 4. So, I'm going to use the quadratic formula. Negative b. There is a negative sign here, and b is negative. So negative meets negative becomes positive. And I'm using brackets here. Why? Because if you use bracket here, it means negative 3 times negative 3 equals 9. If you forgot the brackets here, it means like this, negative 3 squared, it means negative 1 times 3 squared, it means negative 9. This is the difference. That's why I need to put brackets around negative 3 here. So minus 4 times 2 times negative 4 like this. So the a is 2. So replace the a with 2. And then simplify and separate the solutions into x equals 2.35 or x equals negative 0.851. Don't forget to underline your final answers twice. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching Math Lesson with Miss Kenny. Bye bye.